Hello everybody. Today I'm talking with Neil and Seamus from Doctor Mahers Skincare. Dr. Mahers is a fantastic natural skincare company. Everything's handmade in County Kerry. And we absolutely love stocking them in Organico because we get such fantastic results and people come back and they love the products and they love the way their skin feels after using them. So for this webinar, we have asked our audience and our community for some questions, and we've got a number of questions which Seamus and Neil are going to answer for us, and also we're going to explain something about the products and where they come from. So, Neil and Seamus, do you want to introduce yourselves, and then we'll get started with the questions?
Certainly. My name is Neil Maher, Dr. Neil Maher. I research, formulate, manufacture, and validate our products. My main focus really is to develop the most natural range of products that I possibly can. For me, natural only has one meaning. It's found in nature. So that every single ingredient that goes into our final formulation, as it is in the final formulation, I can verify that it actually does occur in nature.
Okay.
What you then find with cosmetics is that, especially the cosmetic industry, there is no definition of natural. Therefore, it's used very, very loosely, if you like.
Yes.
Basically, anything that comes from nature that's been altered chemically to something else that necessarily doesn't occur in nature is still considered natural by a lot of companies. At Dr. Mahers, I rigorously make sure that every single ingredient that ends up in our final product is identifiable in nature. But not only in nature, it's also found in plants, in the mineral world. So, you know, all our ingredients have to be used either nutritionally or medicinally, specifically for, preferably for hundreds, maybe thousands of years. So that improves the overall safety profile of the entire product range.
Yeah.
However, it is incumbent on the formulator themselves to ensure that every ingredient that is used in safe, natural, but still bioactive amounts. So that would be the main focus I would have within the business itself. Now over to Seamus, who looks after the business side and is generally the face of the business that you'd normally see.
Yeah. Yep.
Hi,
My name is Seamus Lynch, and I'm from Stone. And I had an interest in seaweeds when I first met Neil in 2011. And Neil is harvesting seaweeds for 35 years plus. He'd be one of the foremost experts in seaweeds in Ireland. So we got chatting, and basically we had the very same interest, and we realized the absolute potential of seaweed. And we just started brainstorming what we could do with it.
Yeah.
So Neil at the time just happened to be making a seaweed bar of soap, and he was getting serious results for people with eczema, psoriasis and that.
Yeah.
So we kind of built on that then, and it took us, it took Neil about 4 years to actually pull a whole brand of products together, and some very, very, very innovative process for manufacturing them.
Yeah.
Very unique.
Yeah.
And we're on the market 5 years, and this is where we are today. And thankfully we've been in Organico and had a great relationship with Organico with the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And love Organico and the people of West Cork.
Thank you. Yeah.
So, yeah, they would be after, I think they're very much in West Cork off the same hymn sheet as we are, very much into natural, protecting the environment.
Yes.
You know, so that's where we'd be coming from too.
I think uniqueness also is very important too, because it's basically, if you make everything exactly the same as everybody else, you end up with exactly the same product as everybody else. The only difference really at the end of the day after that is it must be it's probably in a nice bottle,
Yes.
slightly different blurb. But I think it's worthwhile, and it's really why I invest so much time developing a new product, to make sure that there's significant intellectual property inside it that develops this uniqueness about it, so that when you try one of our products, it is quite literally very different to most other products you'll ever tried, if not the majority. And that's why a lot of people have that wow factor when they try our products, because it feels so different.
Yeah.
And that's because I make sure that there's a lot of uniqueness in everything that we create.
No, I mean, they're fantastic. I think the amount of the amount of different ingredients as well is phenomenal. I mean, you must have an incredible, I suppose it's a lab, is it? I'm not sure where you,
yes.
I mean, it must be amazing. I'd love to visit sometime, because I'd say, yeah, it's like you have pretty much every ingredient I've ever heard of in there. Brilliant. Okay, well, we have questions from, as I say, about 10 or 12 different people. So I guess I'll read out the question, and then you can just, you know, tell me what you think, whether, you know, some people are asking for advice, and most people are asking for advice. So the first question is from Catherine, and Catherine says, is there any treatment for a small area of her face? She says, I have a scar about 1 centimeter size due to sun damage. And she's wondering what should she use to, I suppose, get rid of the scar?
Well, from our side of things, what you find is that there are quite a few interesting fatty acids out there, yeah, especially the essential fatty acids, the omega-3s and the omega-6s. Linolenic acid, alpha-linoleic acid are particularly useful for helping reduce the size of scars. Yeah. You see, the linoleic acid is directly incorporated into ceramides, and ceramides be one of the real important structural components, lipid components of the skin. So studies have shown that they're particularly effective at helping to reduce the size of scars, but they're also helpful in reducing the unevenness that occurs around scars, and also as well with uneven skin tone also. So there's a whole plethora of areas that they work with. The carotenoids as well, for example, are particularly useful in this area. So what I would suggest to your customer there would be a product like our 7-berry serum, which contains particularly high levels of all of these ingredients. Okay. I think was it 77 or 78% essential fatty acid content within the product itself.
Wow.
And as you can see, it's an extremely dark red color, which also indicates the high level of various carotenoids that you'd find as well within the plant kingdom, that side. So small amount.
They all give the color, don't they? Carotenoids, yes, or carotenoids. So that's so what you find in carrots and what you find in berries.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's where they were first derived from. Yes.
Okay. Yes. Hence the name. So you've got blueberry seed oil and pomegranate seed oil and raspberry seed oil, and then you've got a whole lot of different seaweed extracts and herbal extracts. So the 7-berry serum, so it's an oil, isn't it?
Yes, it's an oil-based serum, yes.
It's an oil-based serum. And I suppose, I mean, you would use that over the whole face, wouldn't you, as well as the scar, because it's a...
Oh, you can use it all over the face. I mean, it's important to mention as well, even though it's an oil-based serum, it's an extremely light-feeling serum, yes, that absorbs extraordinarily rapidly into the skin. What you tend to find with a lot of oil-based serums is that they tend to sit on your skin, they're heavy, they take forever to dry in, you see? Yeah. But if you formulate it correctly, using the right balance of fatty acids within it, you can produce a product that absorbs extraordinarily rapidly, directly into the site where you apply it.
Brilliant.
Also, the 7-berry, like the basic oil, would be 83% of the highest quality rosacea, and it's unrefined, virgin, cold processed, organic.
Yeah.
And then you have the 7-berry oil, and then you have the seaweed extracts inside that give it that extra bump as well. Like so.
Yeah, I mean, rosehip oil is lovely. And then I suppose you as well, you package in such a way that the oils are kept in a very, they're not going to oxidize, are they? So
yeah, it's a very stable, protected environment. Yes, agreed.
Yeah.
They're airless containers.
Airless containers. I mean, that's, you know, obviously, I mean, it's always a bit of a compromise because we love glass from the recyclability perspective, but obviously this keeps everything very, very, they'll last, won't they? They don't go bad. Yeah, which is, they don't oxidize. Brilliant.
But all our packaging for the liquids would be airless. Yeah. Now, at the moment, we're transferring them over to, at the moment, they would be 95% recyclable.
Sure.
In another few months, they'll be 100% completely recyclable. With HDPE, which is by far and away the most recyclable of all the plastics. So we'll have 100% recyclable. Brilliant. And we'll be sourcing them all in Europe rather than bringing them from China.
You were saying that.
Outside.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, so the next question. So Mary's asking why do I keep getting little white spots near her chin and the odd hair under her chin?
Yeah. Well, the odd hair, a lot of these things are tied in with hormonal changes.
Of course.
With, you know, with age, like so, and it is absolutely totally common, including the odd hair.
Yeah.
So you just don't worry about it. Like, just take it out of there and don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, what causes the white cysts is generally like that. It's hormonal based, because then we produce a lot more oil, and then also what happens is what generally happens is the keratin gets trapped underneath the skin.
Okay.
And then you get bacteria get in there then and feed off of that as well, and it's trapped underneath the skin.
Okay.
So it's common. And generally speaking, let's say acne, it's a form of acne. Like, so generally speaking, teenagers have that T, get it in the T zone.
Okay.
Whereas older people, then more mature, then get it in the U zone, which is the chin, the cheeks, and the nose.
Okay.
So it's like we take a very, how we approach the treatment of any skin condition. No matter what the skin condition is, eczema, psoriasis, rosacea, acne, bacteria are involved. And until you deal with the bacteria, you will not get a satisfactory outcome or a warm outcome in the long run. So cleansing is absolutely key. Okay. And that's where our washes come in, the facial wash, the body wash.
Okay.
They've been tested and they're shown to inhibit Staphylococcus aureus, Candida albicans, G, small funguses,
okay.
All the major bacteria. So, but they do it gently,
yes.
Yeah.
And they don't damage the viable skin, and
okay.
that's key.
And they don't kill the bacteria that you want on your skin either, I presume.
No,
there's a certain amount.
Yeah,
you want the thing with microbiome.
The thing with microbiome and bacteria, to deal with them effectively, not only to deal with the bacteria, but the biofilm that they create, that they hide under, that umbrella that they create to protect them. And that's where the washes come in. They actually deal with that as well. And it's the natural fatty acids that deals with them. It breaks down the biofilm and deals with the bacteria. Okay. And the bacteria then cannot create a toxin out of those. Okay. And they cannot defend against it. Whereas with synthetic chemicals, they can take what they want from it, and then they create a toxic sludge out of the rest, which will have a knock-on effect on your autoimmune system as well, and will give you itching, irritation, rashes, and all of that. But that doesn't happen with the natural wash.
Okay, so that's
cleansing is absolutely key.
Okay. Yeah. So that's your face wash. I've been using that. I actually gave that to my daughter who's 11 and who's just started to get possibly the same thing, little white spots, and she's getting it kind of here. And it's kind of in the family, in her family, in my husband's family.
Yeah.
So he was
hereditary.
He was quite kind of, he said, oh, let's get on top of this. And so I actually brought this home this week, and it's a lovely product. We're using it together. So it's our evening ritual at the moment. And I lather it up actually on my hand. I just put it with, is that the right thing to do? It seemed like it was more effective than just applying it straight away.
Oh no, if you apply it straight onto your face, what can happen is if it gets into your eyes, it will sting. So the best way to apply it is have your hands damp, a couple of pumps into the palm and the friction will bring up a lovely foam, and then you can place it exactly where you need it.
Yeah,
and when you want to deal,
it feels great.
And when you want to deal with those spots and things, those areas that are problematic, you just work on them from it very gently, 15, 20 seconds, lukewarm water, and 15, 20 seconds gives it a chance to absorb in and deal with the bacteria.
Okay.
And that goes the same for acne or rosacea, any one of those problems. Like, if you had very severe acne, I would a couple of times a week, I'd actually use the body wash because it has that extra kick.
Okay, and so actually on the face, you just
if you have extremely bad acne.
Sure.
And I do the same thing, just foam it up in the hands and just gently just rub it into those areas. And if it's just on the chin, just use the body wash on the chin.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Just those affected areas. Because it might be a bit drying in other parts of the face. Like, whereas the face wash would be far more gentle. Like.
And then I was going to ask you actually and maybe for Mary as well, what would you apply after you'd used the face wash? So what would you recommend? I mean, I was guessing maybe the 7-berry serum, but I wasn't sure.
I'd go with the moisturizer.
I think so. I would as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
for Lucy, for my 11-year-old, and for Mary,
Yeah.
or is that for the same? Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, do I have the moisturizer? No.
You see, the two were designed to work together. Like every one of our products in the range is designed to be used, it can be used independently,
Yeah.
but have also all been designed so they can be used together.
Yes.
So every time I formulate a new product, I take into consideration the other products and assume, you know, somebody's using all of them. How do I ensure that it's still functional, still sits within, maintains the level of safety and gentleness that I require from all of our products?
Okay.
And so every product can be used together also, if you understand what I mean.
That's good to know. Yeah. Okay.
But the Liberty Corrective Serum gets very good results with acne as well. Yes. There are ingredients within it that are proven in the laboratory to actually be very effective with acne. And it has its own natural antimicrobial properties that deals with the bacteria involved in
that's that one. Yeah.
The liver thing. So the people there this evening that have an issue, we'll be sending them out sample packs so they can try both. You could use the two, or you know what I mean, you can just play with the wash and the serum and the moisturizer and see what works for you. There's no two people the same.
Yeah, sure. Everyone's unique.
Everyone is unique.
Yeah.
They've, like I say, different hereditary, different environments,
different diets,
different immune systems. You know, everybody's unique.
Yeah.
And even in the environment and the water that you use wouldn't be the same quality as the water we use here. Every different parish has a different system of treating water. Some people have soft water, some people have hard water, and then the chemicals that they put into them are different as well, and that has different outcomes. So
yes, that's true. You have to try things out. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so the next question I have comes from Maria, who's asked about her granddaughter. She says, my granddaughter, age 13, gets very red, itchy skin after a bath in Maria's house. The water's been tested and it's clear. I guess she means clear of bacteria or maybe heavy metals or something. I don't know. It doesn't happen to her in the UK. So would either of you have any advice or a product to help? And she says no chemicals are used on her skin at all.
Absolutely. This happens to me all the time when I shower in my father's house, for example. I don't even have to use a product of any description. I just stand under the water and red lumps appear on my chest, my legs, my back, everywhere. And same story again. If I shower in Tralee, which would be approximately 25 miles away, it doesn't happen. New York, it doesn't happen. London, it doesn't happen. Just at home. And going back to what Seamus was saying, if the water in every single area is different, also too, the chemicals they add in terms of preservation to preserve the water when it's actually in the pumps, they're also different. Sometimes they have different levels. It could be something to do with people's training, I don't know, but there are significant differences that way. What I do to alleviate that issue is I use the Absolute 54. It almost instantaneously removes the itch. The redness disappears within a couple of minutes afterwards.
Okay, that's very
extremely effective method for myself. Yes.
Okay, so that's your moisturizer. Okay.
But even with the absence of chemicals, I mean, there are loads of studies to show that the hard water on its own will create issues, skin issues, and eczema and drying out of the skin. And, and the problem is when you dry out the skin, you're coming back to the same thing again. When your skin dries out, that gives access to bacteria and funguses and viruses and other environmental toxins, and then you get an autoimmune response. So just the skin drying out, and hard water will do that. So it can be the water in your area, it can be a major issue. Now the body wash would be a huge help, because that has 10% essential fatty acids, unlike other body washes. Compared to internationals, we got it tested. And it's 80 times higher in emollients C, 25 times higher in antioxidants, 10 times higher in essential fatty acids than any other cleanser on the market, the body wash. So that would help to soften it as well. But the water can be a major problem.
Okay, that's interesting.
Well, I find exactly the same issue, and they're like, Absolutely 54 alleviates it for myself pretty much instantly.
Yeah, moisturizing afterwards would be a huge help.
Brilliant. So she could use, so I suppose you have the body wash in a travel size, which would be handy for her. And then the moisturizer, just putting the moisturizer on, a little bit of moisturizer on after a shower would get rid of it.
Directly after, yes. Yes.
Or equally so, the cleansing bar is very good, for it would be loaded with essential fatty acids. Being a solid, we can actually get more into solid than we can a liquid. Like. So that would be ultra soft as
people absolutely love your cleansing bar. Like it's very, very popular. And
it's a very unique product. Well,
I love the way it lasts for so long. It's fantastic.
Like the one thing that like Neil has formulated in all of our products with the same thing. Like they have one thing in common, a couple of things in common. They've no preservative and they've no emulsifiers, and both of those can be allergen causing as well.
Sure.
And we don't use any fragrances, any perfumes, any essential oils in any of our products. So they're safe with babies 3 months of age and up, and people undergoing cancer treatments, anything like that.
Yeah.
So they're really and truly hypoallergenic. Yeah.
That was why one of the reasons I chose the face wash to give to Lucy, actually, because she's a redhead and she reacts to everything. I mean, she's, you know, like if she puts the tiniest bit of face paint seems to be the worst thing. Any face paint, her face comes out in blotches and puts face paint on her hands. And it's just ridiculous. So I thought, well, at least with your products, I know for sure that she's not going to react. It's brilliant. Now, she does actually have to avoid her eyes when she's using the face wash, though, because she does find that even though it's super gentle, it's still the lids.
Yeah, you want to be very careful.
Not inside her eyes. It's not getting inside her eyes, but actually just her eyelids can feel a little bit sensitive afterwards. So she's
there's always going to be slight runoff anyway from your eyelids anyhow.
And there would be. She's just a special case. Yeah. Brilliant.
I think it's important to say about the Absolute 54 as well that approximately 94 to 95% of the ingredients present within that product are found naturally within the human body. Okay. More specifically, the skin. And the other 5%, is excluding water, is found within your normal human diet, either medicinally or nutritionally.
So it's completely edible and
high compatibility with the skin and your body and all the natural processes that occur within your body also. Okay. So that's why I think we've been finding such particularly good results with that moisturizer. Yes.
Brilliant. Okay. Fantastic. Okay. So the next question I have is from Rose, who wants to know, what is your recommendation for cystic acne around the jaw at midlife? Now, I think we've covered it, but we could recap. She says for her, it's exacerbated by using a mask. So a face mask. And
that would be similar to Mary, only being a nurse, then she's having to wear a mask. Yeah. And then, of course, when you have a mask on, the bacteria, I have no issue with bacteria. We wouldn't survive today without them.
Of course,
yeah. You know what I mean? We'd have no immune system.
Yeah.
So, but the problem is now when you're wearing a mask, like you're kind of creating the conditions.
In moist environment, the bacteria just love to grow and thrive.
Yeah.
You know?
With a mask on.
And fungi also.
Yeah, fungi.
Yeah.
And that, like. So basically it comes back to the same thing, cleansing, and then the moisturizer. Now, but a funny enough thing, a nurse contacted me about 3 weeks ago, actually a health shop, local health shop, and the nurse came in with the very, very same problem.
Okay.
And I give them samples. Yeah. So they used the wash, but she found that the corrective serum was absolutely amazing.
Okay.
That it was the corrective serum that done it for her.
Okay.
So, you know what I mean? It's the corrective serum, and maybe you could use the moisturizer in the morning then just to give yourself protection during the day.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, as an overall thing, let's say for most skin conditions, particularly rosacea, acne, and that. Now we'll be getting to rosacea later on as well. But the best time to do any treatments is nighttime. Okay. Because that's when all the healing goes on. So before bedtime is absolutely the best time to do all of these treatments. Because all our healing goes on 90%.
Yeah, I knew that, but I hadn't ever put it together with face care for some reason. That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, and washing your face, people overwash nowadays. Once a day is enough. At night time when you're taking off all the environmental toxins of the day, and then you cleanse it at night gently, lukewarm water, very gentle. I don't agree totally with all this exfoliating, microneedling. I have a lot of issues about it because you're introducing bacteria, you're breaking down, the epidermis, which is not helpful either, and you're causing inflammation, which is not a thing you want for the body. So, with at nighttime gently cleansing, like the bar is brilliant for taking off makeup, heavier makeup. It'll take off the eye stuff as well, and the face wash will do the same. But the bar will take off heavier makeup.
Okay. Okay, so for cystic acne, you'd recommend the face wash or the bar, and then
the face wash, yeah, and just like that again, or maybe even like if it's very bad, the body wash would be very, very gentle. The body wash maybe a couple times a week, but generally it's the face wash I like to use because I have rosacea myself. And just do that 15, 20 seconds, lukewarm water, and then just get up your foam, gently work it into those areas, gently. Rinse off, pat dry, and then put on your, she can do the corrective serum or the moisturizer or both. She can trick with them and see what you get. She get results fairly quick once she starts doing that. And then in the moisturizer, before you put on the mask during the day, just add on an extra bit of moisturizer before you put on the mask.
Okay,
you know?
Brilliant. Okay.
So
then John says, I have bad psoriasis on the back of my head. I'm putting on Beta Cap and Dovonex every night. I've been doing this for the past year, but no great results. I'm in my senior years. He says I have a good diet, and he'd like any advice you can give him.
Yeah, we get loads of those. Like, I mean, our products are they've been recommended by the local dermatologist in Tralee. We've only one in Kerry anyway, so she's been prescribing it for the last 4 years.
Brilliant.
But generally it's the body wash, and she finds it's by far and away the best thing she ever used for hyperkeratosis, and that's the plaque that comes with eczema and psoriasis.
Yeah.
But it's also plaque you can get in your scalp. It's like cradle cap. Works for babies and cradle cap as well. And she found that the body wash is by far and away the best product they ever used. And they also use an open leg wound, leg ulcers, because it takes off all the dead skin, deals with the bacteria, and deals with the biofilm without interfering with the healing or the viable tissue. Now, a lot of people get scalp problems as they get older. I never wash with anything else, only the body wash. And Neil is the same, Neil's dad is the same for years. Like, we don't have any issues. So,
so you're advising that instead of shampoo?
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
And actually, the dermatologist told us that we should bottle the body wash in a shampoo bottle, because people won't use it because it's body on it. And then we should. And she recommends it all the time for scalp problems. Yeah. And you could use a little bit of the corrective serum as well.
Okay, just to massage it in.
Yeah, just a little bit in. And
maybe you should just put hair and body if you're repackaging. You know, if you're
something along that line. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There you go.
I mean, because those products have been used in a clinical setting for more than 3 years now, 3.5 gone on 4 years, and zero reaction rate.
And we get feedback.
This would be people now with some of the most compromised skin, you know, with some of the biggest flare-ups you can come across.
Sure.
And, you know, so
that's very impressive.
I have to say, like, you know, that's about as gentle as you can get, you know?
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah. And we, as well, like we've kind of grown the company organically and slow, so we can get the feedback on all these products, who it works for, who it doesn't work for, and any issues. Like, so we get feedback, and then Neil can tweak this and tweak that. You know. So I would body wash for that gentleman, and we'll give him the Liberty as well. You can put a drop on that. Like,
so body wash, and then maybe a little bit of serum on afterwards. Okay, fantastic.
Yeah. Just the base of his hair though as well. Just to massage it in with his fingers, just the base. And then dry him.
Just when you stand back from the shower after wetting your hair, and then you foam it up and all that, that'll be adequate time then for it to absorb into this job. And just pay a little bit of attention to that area, and just rinse off, and you'll be fine. You'll see an immediate improvement. We get that common. Yeah, that's common.
And
even
then
ladies that ladies that have got colouring in their hair. Now the body wash suits hair. Your hair will be fine, and my hair is fine. Shoulder length. If you're using it on the scalp problem, besides that, you just use it on the scalp area, and then if you have longer hair, just bend over the bath afterwards, then and just rinse it off, and then you can use. You know what I mean? You can work it that way.
You'd use your own. Do you mean you
wouldn't suit longer?
You use your own shampoo on the actual hair, do you mean? Is that what you mean? And then the body wash on the scalp?
Yeah, and use the body wash on the scalp itself, you know, if you have an issue that way. It's brilliant for anybody, let's say, that's gotten colours in their hair and kind of an itchy scalp afterwards, get a reaction to the colouring and that. If you use the body wash afterwards, it'll take it
calms it right down.
Calm it right down quick. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Okay. Okay, well, our next question is from Sage, who asks, what's the best way to calm rosacea?
That's me. I have rosacea. I have rosacea. The first bit of advice with rosacea is don't use oil.
Don't use oil?
Yeah. It just exacerbates it, like it makes it worse.
Okay.
So basically, up to lately, like they didn't have a great understanding of rosacea, and the problem was that over 85% of people have these tiny dermatitis mites on their face. They're tiny. Everybody's got them.
Basically, so microscopic. You can't see them. They increase with age.
And what happens then is, up to now, people with rosacea had between 6 and 20 times as many. So it was a chicken and egg situation. They didn't know because they had rosacea, they had all those extra mites, or because they had the extra mites, they got rosacea. But what the recent studies are showing is back to the same thing again. It is the bacteria in the mite that causes the problem. And the problem is like, if your face dries out, you know, as you age and that, and or during the winter time, you're driving the car and the heat is coming up, your skin dries out, bacteria get in. And it's something similar with the rosacea then. So with the rosacea, it's the same thing again. Deal with the bacteria. So I have the rosacea. The best time to use rosacea, to treat the rosacea is night time before I go to bed. Okay. So I wash, shave and everything. Because if I only apply cold water to my face, I'll have a big red face.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So what I do is I'll shower at night, I'll shave at night, and then for the rosacea, it's the same thing. Dampen the face, a few pumps into the palm of my hands, get a lovely foam up. And for the gentlemen out there with the same problem.
Face wash.
Yeah, and you can use the face wash as a shaving foam as well. It's brilliant as a shaving foam.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so you dampen the face, get the foam up in the palms of your hand, and then work it into all the problem areas. Usually it's here with rosacea, here, and the chin. So you just gently work those areas gently for about 15-20 seconds, and then rinse it off thoroughly. Pat dry, put on your moisturizer. Now, the trick with it is, with the moisturizer, is, right, you put on the moisturizer all over as a moisturizer. And what you do then is, any place that's extra red, whether that's an acne spot, a blemish, the rosacea where you're red, give that an extra spot. Give that an extra going over because it needs it. And you might even be a little red after doing that, but you will be a rosacea. I guarantee you when you wake up in the morning. It's
interesting. Okay.
Completely.
Brilliant.
Because in the moisturizer, we never explained about the moisturizer. The moisturizer is very unique because it's we don't know of another one in the British Isles that has no emulsifier, no preservative. It's the only one in the world with omega-3 DHA. And that's very important because omega-3 DHA has 70 bioactives and it's a huge anti-inflammatory as well. And that's what brings down that inflammation. Okay. And there's 7 different ceramides inside it. There's a host of lipids inside it. So it supports the whole skin metabolism and it's a lipid barrier for your skin. And it stops the bacteria getting back in. It stops that transdermal water loss out of your skin, which causes the dryness in the first place.
Okay.
So it's a lipid barrier for your skin. Whereas the serums are nutrition for the skin. Okay. This one is more a lipid barrier for your skin and protects your skin. So when you put that on.
I used the moisturizer on Sunday because we were sailing and we had a lovely day. We went out to the Fastnet. It was absolutely amazing. But I was sitting up on the deck for quite a lot of the day and I had a hat on, so I don't think it was sunburn, but my face was quite hot at the end of the day. So I think it was wind. And also obviously as well, I suppose I didn't put sun cream on early. I did put sun cream on, but not maybe early enough. Anyway, the moisturizer just completely calmed my skin down. It was absolutely brilliant. And it was just, I just had it on the boat. I didn't have very much else, you know, so I just thought, I'll just try this out and see, because I don't know. I suppose normally I might have thought of using aloe vera, or I might have thought of something like that. Anyway, the moisturizer just completely, it worked beautifully.
It's the omega-3 DHA. It's amazing.
Just, it's amazing. Heat away and lovely.
The other tip I would give then, let's say when you're using the moisturizing cream, there's a lot of people with rosacea have issues around their eyes as well. So what I do is, when you're after moisturizing your face in the first case and you have the barest residue, because the skin around your eyes is only half as thick as the skin in your face, which is half as thick as the skin in your body. So when you have the barest residue left on your finger, one little wipe like that under and over the eye. And it's a brilliant eye cream. It's a brilliant eye cream.
So just a very, very small amount.
Oh, that's all you need, because the skin, like I said, around your eye is very, very thin. So you need very little, you know.
Brilliant.
So that's an extra tip anyway for the moisturizer.
Well, one class of ingredients that we haven't covered in the Absolute 54, I think is worth giving a mention to also, would be the amino acids that are present inside it. Like if you look at the back of the labels, I think it's about 15 or 16 a minute. What I've done there is I've replicated the natural moisturizing factor of the skin, the amino acid component of that. It shows approximately 95% homology with what your skin produces and in the ratios that your skin also produces. Okay. So that moisturizing factor would also help you on the day as well, because you know your skin would have dried out significantly because of all the moisture and the moisture and the wind from that day. So it's quite a unique product. There's a lot going on in there. Yeah. I mean, it would take a whole day just to go through all the interactions just in that one product alone.
Okay.
Just see, you know, a lot of moisturizers out there are kind of silicone based.
Yeah.
And they're long chain, but they sit on top of the skin. They feel smooth and they feel soft.
Yeah.
But they do nothing for your skin, except for blocking pores. And a healthy skin needs to breathe, has to breathe. So there's a huge difference between normal moisturizing creams and that moisturizer. Every ingredient has gone in there. And it's unique as well that it's 24-hour time release moisturizing. So it's in tiny plant capsules, like, and they're constantly releasing the whole time. So even if you wash your hands, it'll keep moisturizing afterwards. It feels unbelievably light going in and fast absorbing. But once it's in there, it starts moisturizing out. And it's a huge humectant, and it draws moisture in as well.
Okay. Yes, it contains little spheres that attach directly onto your skin because they're skin identical lipids. And then they just slowly pop, releasing bioactive over a period of 24 hours.
Okay. Okay.
It's brilliant on the makeup as well.
Amazing. Okay, so Angela, our next question is from Angela, and she says, so she says she's used the Absolute 54 moisturizer in the cleansing bar, and she has dry and sensitive skin, and she found her skin became more sensitive and a little bit tight. So she's wondering so she says, have you plans to make these products more hydrating? But I wonder, is there something else that she could use? Or I suppose it also made me just think about the fact that you do need to moisturize from within as well. That obviously our philosophy in Organico would be always to advise that people take omega-3 fatty acids internally as well, because you can't expect your skin to be completely fed from what you put on your skin. And then of course there's the factor of the water that she's using as well, you know, whether the water is drying out her skin. Totally. But I don't know if you had any thoughts about her question.
I'd agree 110%. Meant to say it at the start, the outset of the program. I mean, we can help as best we can topically, and there are a lot of things you take internally, like omega-3s or collagen or anything like that, that the skin has the last call of it. The rest of the body gets first call, and the skin gets the last call. So applying it topically is a huge help, and that's where the nutrition for the skin comes in. But the skin actually reflects what's going on in your gut. So everything has a factor in it. Let's say it's inflammation of the gut, depending on the foods that you could be allergic to, dairy or wheat, so you need to look at the whole. And as well as that, your stress can be involved, medications you're taking. There's so many factors that your skin will reflect outside. So you need to look at, exercise, your diet, all those things play a huge factor. And if you get those right, your skin will also reflect that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay. And then, so the next question we had was from Heather. So she is, she's a nurse. And so, yes, she's the same. She's found, she says, being a nurse, I'm wearing masks a lot in work. My face is quite sensitive already before all this mask wearing. The skin on my jawline is dry and patchy as well. And she's getting pimples and breakouts, especially around her nose. So I suppose is kind of probably a similar answer, but then it is interesting. And I do find if I get a question like this on the shop floor where you've got somebody with, what they would say is a combination skin, it is always one that I find slightly hard to know which way to go with. So I thought that was quite interesting. So she's got dry and patchy here and then maybe breakouts around her nose.
But that's very common with acne. Acne just doesn't come with oily skin. Very often, it can come with eczema and acne at the same time. So you've both going on. But comes back to cleansing. Like that lady I was telling you, the nurse will go with the mask, like she found the Liberty unbelievable. So we'll be giving them, so it'll be the same thing. It's just wash and cleanse at night time. And then put on your, she can do a simple patch test just to make sure that the serum agrees with you.
Yeah.
To be very rare if it doesn't. Do a simple patch test. There's no fear with the wash. You won't have an issue with that. Just a liberty, just do a little patch test. It should be okay.
Yeah.
And you can combine that, then leave that soaking for 5 minutes, and then put on the moisturizer over that. Then when the liberty soaks in, and then you can use either or in the morning before you go out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can take some during the day. Like the mask does make it difficult for people with sensitive skin and acne. Or like I said, that nurse knows that we've had experience from brilliant.
Okay.
Corrective.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the cleansing. Oh, sorry, Neil. Yep.
Oh, sorry, I was going to say, I think if you look at the hospital-based environment these days, I mean, my wife works in a hospital also. She never had eczema in her life up to just after the recent sort of pandemic began. And I think that's a lot to do with the harsh detergents that they'd be using in the hospital setting to clean scrubs and others that way as well. And also too, like Seamus just said, also do the hand cleansers now that they're using, the alcohol-based ones, you know, they're having a huge effect now on people that had borderline sensitive skin. It's kind of pushing them over the edge.
Yeah.
But again, my wife found great work was done by the Absolute 54 in this regard. It calmed it down very, very rapidly. Now she doesn't seem to have that problem. But, you know, it's like, I mean, I think that's, if you would look at the health service as a whole, I'd say huge numbers of people are having problems now, probably based through what they've been exposed to at work, you know? Yeah. So I think that's be more of a problem going forward. It wouldn't just be people working in the health profession. I mean, everybody's using more and more harsh cleansers on their hands, and, you know, they're touching the face afterwards. And, you know, what affects the hands can also have a progressive effect to the rest of the body also, depending on how it's absorbed, you know. So I think we're going to see that more and more and more going forwards.
No, absolutely. Hand sanitizers in particular are very, the alcohol is very harsh, isn't it?
That's why we brought out the hand wash.
Yes,
during the pandemic, we brought out the hand.
Yeah. So, that's your most recent.
Yes, the recent days.
Super gentle. You can use it as often as you want. You know?
There's a lady, a manageress in a pharmacy, came up to me there lately, just last week, and she was amazed with the hand wash. Her daughter had got burned her hands on the heater in the radiator inside the church of all places when she was small. She got bad burns, but she'd been hypersensitive ever since, and they used to be red and kind of irritated looking, what have you. And she said within days of using the hand wash, she couldn't believe it.
So it's packed full of soothing agents, you know, anti-irritants, you know, counter-irritants. I mean, I can't literally put any more in. You know, literally, it's packed as far as I can put it. You know, and still have water pressure. You know what I mean? So
it's lovely. It's very concentrated.
It certainly is.
We're using it. We have it behind the counter in the shop. It's very popular. Okay, so then the next person who asked this question is called Aoife, and she has a couple of different questions. So her first question is, I think you've answered it already, but we could recap. She says, are your skincare products 100% pure since they're derived from seaweed? And are they 100% free of heavy metals?
Actually, we've had some of our seaweeds checked there in the past because we harvest them all from the same area. Well, similar areas, like it's along the same regional coast. Okay. And they were checked for the chromiums, you know, all the heavy deleterious metals. Because you need a certain amount of metals also for healthy skin, also in your body to work naturally and effectively. Of course. But we're talking about the toxic heavy metals,
Toxic heavy metals,
Absolutely. I mean, it's like, as far as the you know, in terms of the health service looking at it, it'd be perfectly happy.
Very happy. So okay.
That's very easy that way, yes. So, I mean, we've got some of the most pristine waters in probably Northern Europe. You know, I mean, we have no heavy industry. No. We've got no chemical industry to speak of. I mean, there's no huge population centres on the West Coast, and you've got 3,000 miles of Atlantic drift coming here to break on our shores. You know, I mean, it's about as clean, as pure as you can get. You know, the waters that we have here. So, you know, I mean, there's no issues.
Good. Okay. And then, does Dr. Mahers body wash help and heal acne on the back and chest? I think we've said yes to that.
The young lady, there's a bit of a tip for that. There was a young lady there lately, anyway, she had the same issue. She had very bad acne in her face, and it's when she actually used the body wash, she got that really took it to another level. But she also had very bad acne on her back. So I gave her the travel wash, body wash in the travel size, And I told her, you can get the, you know, the scrubbing brushes there with
Yeah,
the
yeah, the
handles
long scrubbing brushes, yeah.
and the bristles on the top.
Yeah.
You get that and you wet it in the shower, like, and then you put on a squirt of the body wash and you can get at it that way.
Yes.
And within days. And for the front, like, you could just use a scrunchie. You know, just said little kind of scrunchies. And you just put a pad in that and just give it an extra little rub that way, and that'll take it out.
I always use a scrunchie myself, personally speaking. I always use, That's a good, like, gentle exfoliation too. It's not heavy exfoliation like you can find.
Yeah, Okay.
Yeah, but the body wash is brilliant for that.
Okay, and then her next question is, does Dr. Mahers have a cream, gel, or serum that is good for toning, lifting, and brightening the eye area? That is anti-inflammatory, anti-redness, and helps heal dark circles, dryness, and raised purple and red veins, and small milia around the eyes. That's the little white.
Yeah, little spots under the skin again.
Yes, so
well, in terms of anti-inflammatory, anti-redness, yes, absolute 54, definitely.
Just a very thin film again, you were saying.
Yeah, exactly. Just what's left over, just a very, very small amount, just underneath that way. Just the residue what's left over after you've done everywhere else. You notice what's just a little bit just before it absorbed, then just underneath that way across the top.
Okay.
Dark circles, again, uneven skin tone that's related to the unsaturated fatty acids, specifically, like I was saying before, the omega-6, omega-3, that would be linolenic, alpha-linolenic, particularly useful in that respect. There's significant carotenoids present there as well, so all of these materials together will help reduce redness there. Also, like to the dark circles, that would be beyond it as well. It takes a good bit of time, but then again, it takes a long time for those, especially packets of melanin producer cells to develop over time. So, yeah, so it'll help from that side of things. Red veins and milia around the eye, Seamus, any thoughts?
Yeah, like you have to look at other underlying conditions, like you say.
I think that's what we need to go to now.
Do you know what I mean? That the dark circles and all that. Like, you'll be looking at hydration.
I was just going to say, hydration.
Sleep.
Yeah.
Sleep, enough sleep. If you're not getting enough sleep, like, that causes other stresses and other problems as well. So you just need to look at the holistic side of it. Like, we can only do so much topically, but you need to look at any other underlying problems there also.
Do you have a plan to bring out an eye cream or an eye gel, or do you think that you...
Yeah, along down the line, yes. I've got quite a few ingredients that are going there quite nicely there at the moment, so it's just a matter of trying to package those for the next couple of products I'm trying to bring out. You know, so yeah, we'll definitely look in that area also. Yes.
So her next question is, she says, I hear frankincense oil is good for acne and enhances and renews skin with radiance. Do you have a frankincense oil?
Well, so we don't use essential oils in any of our products. In this case, no.
Yeah, be no to that. I mean, frankincense is absolutely lovely, but it also is quite strong. And so I suppose...
Very much so. It's resin.
Yeah. And then her last question is, she says, I have visible varicose veins below my right leg and knee. Are Dr. Mahers skincare products good for healing and reducing clearly visible varicose veins?
That's really...
We haven't really focused on varicose veins.
That, like, normally it's laser treatment or some cosmetic.
So the veins themselves are very deep down under the skin. They're very, very deep down.
Absolutely.
So most topical preparations, wouldn't be delving that deep into the skin. Like, it's mostly the superficial layers of the skin directly below it. There's a reduction in or a breakdown of the permeability barriers, like in dry skin. Yes, we can help rebuild that area also. But see, veins are often very, very, very deep. Very deep.
No, and I mean,
more cosmetic.
If you had a varicose vein that had become ulcerous, obviously you could use the body wash for that, because you were talking about that.
Big time. So that way, then you can access the varicose veins.
But that's obviously not what she's got. But that would be obviously where the skin had broken down. But other than that, you've got kind of obviously several layers of skin on top of the vein, even though it's visible. So obviously a topical preparation would be. I would actually have. I would suggest a leg magnet that I found that I've had very good results with. So if Aoife gets in touch with us, I will give her the contact details. We don't actually sell the leg magnets, but I can give her the contact details for where she'll get one, and they are absolutely amazing. Okay, so
the other thing you were saying about the leg ulcers, What we have experienced over the last few years is like the local health nurses use the body wash and the corrective serum, particularly the body wash for open leg wound leg ulcers. And they're trying to bring it, like I said before, for taking off the dead skin, dealing with the bacteria. And we have, and it has, the body wash on its own has helped leg ulcers hugely for people that couldn't get any results before. Like, so it's an amazing thing.
That's fascinating, because I suppose instinctively when you think about a body wash, you think it's going to irritate, you know, that it's going to be, most washes are kind of, you know, would be foamy, and you think they would upset a wound. You wouldn't want to necessarily. And when the nurse is applying it, is she applying it directly to the ulcer, or is she applying it to the skin around the ulcer?
But some people have come back to me and said they bathed with it, like, so they get a soft sponge, like, and you'd have a basin of water, and you just get a wet sponge and you just pump and it foams up, and then you can gently work it that way. Okay. But the nurses, what they do then is they have the white pads, the cotton pads, and they'll just dampen those and put a tiny drop on it and just work around the wound with it, like, so. That's how they work it. Yeah,
amazing. Okay.
But I think you need to get it, if you can just dilute it down a bit, get it into one, it'll sting a little bit, but no matter what you put in, it's going to sting a little bit anyway. But that'll deal with any biofilm, any bacteria, and then you just clean dressing over the wound again.
As an example, my father had cheilitis there a couple of years ago. You know, I mean, he was touch and go whether or not he'd actually lose his leg or cellulitis. Cellulitis, sorry, cellulitis, yeah.
Cellulitis, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, you know, he was using a body wash. That was the antimicrobial side of things. So obviously, it's microbially based. The issue with that condition. And then you just use Liberty and then the moisturizer afterwards, and you know, you could see a big difference even just a few days. So we were very, very, very lucky, you know.
And if the legs are inflamed and swollen, like, the support stockings are huge.
On top of that afterwards.
So he was using the body wash and then the Liberty serum and then the moisturizer.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Every single day, and making sure you change the dressings every single day. Also, that's key. You know, kind of controlling the microbes daily, and also changing the dressings daily.
Because I would have
used to use the same dressing for the whole day, and then change it the next.
Change it as well when the skin is kind of healed.
In this case here, you see with cellulitis there, like you don't really get. He had a few open sores on his leg, also where they cut tissue out when he was in the hospital. So he had no issue, no soreness or any issues like that way when he applied the body wash, followed by the Liberty and the Absolute.
Okay.
So I mean, it was like there was still a little bit of healing had gone on to where the wounds were. So it wasn't like full open sore, if you like. But it's just that the infection was just coming way back quick. So. You know,
and was he on antibiotics? Was he on a prescription as well?
Trying to remember. I think initially he would have been. Yes.
Yeah, he would be for the first until he got it under control and it was receding.
Yeah. Fascinating. Okay. So then we have a question from Nora, and Nora writes that she's been suffering from eczema-like skin around her ear, and she thinks that it's a little bit as if her ears are leaking at night. She's tried cortisol-based drops, and she's tried an antibiotic drop, but obviously, you know, it kept coming back. She said she's in her mid-50s. And her doctor says he thinks it's coming from when she showers, but she doesn't actually agree, because she tried not showering that area for a week and it didn't help. And other times she showered and washed her hair and she didn't have problems. So she's tried a few things. She's tried Elizabeth Arden's 8-hour cream. She's tried Calendula hypericum, but she hasn't had any relief. And yeah, she's just wondering what you would recommend for that.
I'd have a similar problem now for a while. But what I found works, I guess, when the body wash, I get very dry and flaky at the back of the ear and in the tips of the ear, and just inside the ear there.
Yeah.
So what I find is then when you wash with the body wash, just give it that extra little wash there, like, and then when you have the foam in your hair, you just get the foam in around the ear like that. Don't force it in, just work it in just gently.
Yeah.
And then when you've rinsed off and all that, and when you've dried off, just get a little pinch of the moisturizer, just put it between the fingers, and just work it up along the ear or any place that's dry, and just a little bit in around the ear there that's dry.
Okay.
Yeah, that's very good. No, that won't stop any leaking that's going on. You know, that's earwax or something like that, you know.
Yes, I mean, it's just going to help the whatever irritation, whatever inflammation's being caused. Yeah, that makes sense. So, I mean, the moisturizer then really is a lot more, because when you see moisturizer, you basically pretty much think the face, don't you? Especially the size bottle it is and that kind of thing. You know, we've actually, I haven't brought one up here because we must have sold out. You know, they're flying out the door at the moment. You've got one there. Yeah. So, but you formulated that with the idea that it's a lot more than a facial moisturizer.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Do you know what I mean? We had a saying there at one stage, Dr. Mahers products is more than just cosmetic, if you like. And I think that really, really describes our product range also. I mean, we're trying to look at, I suppose you could say, the whole holistic approach of looking after the skin from the outside. Yeah. I mean, so I try to bring as many ingredients as I can, depending on what type of product it is. And then ingredients I was unable to combine with the last one that I still wanted to include for specific reasons, going to the next product, etc. You see? So, I mean, all the ingredients we have present within our products, they help all the skin's natural processes of regeneration, renewal, you know, so they're there to work with them because they're the same chemicals that you naturally would occur in your diet and within your body also. So it makes sense to optimize those as much as possible.
Yeah. No, it makes
the skin.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Exactly. Can help itself. Yeah. You know.
Okay, so the next question is from Amy, and she asks, what are your recommendations for someone that has general issues with excess keratin? So is that the little kind of rough skin that you can get on your arms and maybe a little bit under your eyes?
Yeah, children get it a lot, and young adults and children get it a lot. You know, and usually they grow out of it, like, you know, it's rarer and more rare in adults, like, you know. It's not painful or anything like that, but it's a bit of a nuisance. It's just a wash will help big time, I know.
Because the body wash helps remove like dead skin cells also. It has a kind of a keralytic effect, if you like. Yeah, in other words, discrimination. It helps the process whereby the skin naturally sheds skin cells at a rate at which you would normally like to shed them. So it helps to loosen those, if you like. You know, so that's why the body wash would be very beneficial from that side of things.
And moisturizing, of course, to soften the skin.
And so again, you just kind of leave it on for 15-20 seconds to let it penetrate.
Yeah, like, I mean, generally if you're showering, like, you wet all over, like you stand back from the shower head then when you're applying everything all over, and by the time you've it all applied,
it's time to go in anyway.
Do you know what I mean? It's pretty much, 20-30 seconds is pretty much. But those areas then you can give just that an extra, with the scrunchie, like, just give it that extra little bit. Like, but I'd always advocate be gentle with skin. You know what I mean? Like, people, I think skin is under attack very much now between all the different procedures. Keep it simple. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Cleansing wise, nutrient wise, and the moisturizing. Just keep it as simple as you possibly can, and be gentle. Simple, natural, not overwash. All those kind of things, and then look after your diet and health and exercise and everything else.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, the very last question is from Talia, and she's asking, how would you identify dry skin as opposed to dehydrated skin? And is it possible to have both dry skin and dehydrated skin simultaneously? At the same time. An interesting question. Good one to finish.
The major problem is the
permeability barrier.
The permeability barrier. And then the transdermal water loss out of your skin, because it's the job of your skin to retain moisture. And when that breaks down, you get excess. You lose the moisture out of your skin. So it has the same effect at the end of the day. So
and again, all our products are designed to help, number one, protect the barrier.
Yeah.
Secondly, enhance the barrier by working again with the processes that we use to manufacture an actual barrier itself. Yeah. That's why the ceramides are present. That's the reason why the essential fatty acids are present. You know, the amino acids are also there to help supplement the natural moisturizing factor of the skin. And of course, the amino acids are the building blocks that the proteins are created from, not just the structural components, you know, the collagens, etc., but also the mechanistic components that create those in the first place. These are the enzymes, you know, so they're present there. I mean, there's also a film-forming effect on the top there that helps to create an imperceptible barrier on the skin that also prevents short-term moisture loss as well. So it also keeps all the actives in, if you like.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's a lot of levels which our products work on that help to work with that process, aid it and enhance its repair.
Yeah. Okay.
And
So, I mean, at the same time, though, as we were saying, I mean, what you do need to be hydrating yourself, because if you're dehydrated, your skin will be dehydrated. I mean, we know that just around the mouth, don't we? Immediately, do you know? But dehydration. No, carry on.
What we find now is we're coming into the period of the year where your skin really come under pressure. Like it'll be from September, generally the end of September, October, November, December. Yeah. Because we're inside in heated cars, we're going into heated homes, and we're just been, you know, the skin has been dried out completely the whole time. So that's the real challenge at that time of the year. So hydration, like you say. And
of course, during that period of time as well, the ceramide content of your skin has a measurable decrease compared to the summertime. And that's why it's particularly important to get the linolenic acids onto your skin also, because they're incorporated directly into ceramides. Plus, that's the reason why there's other ceramides within the actual synergy mix within the Absolute 54 also. And just even the application of the omega-6 to your skin is able to, you can actually demonstrate a measurable increase in the ceramide content of the skin because of the topical application of this particular fatty acid or lipids containing that fatty acid directly to the skin. Okay. So it will help to enhance the reduction of those effects, especially the transition from the summer to the winter.
From outside to inside.
And of course, as we age, that effect becomes more and more pronounced. Yes. So it's more and more important to apply those materials. Because like Seamus was saying, I mean, if you say you eat any particular beneficial oil, you know, that comes straight from the seed, it could be cold pressed, whatever. Now, anywhere between 30 to 40% of the essential fatty acids contained within it are directly metabolized by your body and used for energy. Okay, the rest then goes throughout the rest of the body and is used by practically every other cell along the way until a small amount gets to pop out in the skin. Yeah. So it makes sense to topically apply these materials directly to your skin where they are required, because very few have what we call an optimal diet. You know, I mean, we might have certain days where it'd be optimal, other days it's anything probably suboptimal in my case as well. So it's often very important to supplement your skin with these materials, you know, like especially those essential fatty acids we spoke of. Yeah.
And vitamin D.
And vitamin D.
And vitamin D.
And
this time of the year around.
Yeah. We were I haven't got that in there yet, but I'm working on it.
Yeah, we had a good chance this summer. We got a good, we had a reasonable run at vitamin D this summer. Brilliant. Well, thank you so much. That's all our questions. It was really lovely to talk to you.
And if your customer, if the people there that had the queries, we'll send them out the sample packs so they can try them out.
That's very generous. So I suppose when we were collecting these questions, we didn't collect contact details because it was just a form that we used on the website. But for anyone who's listening who submitted a question, if they email us with their name and contact details, we will definitely, it'd be great. We'll send out sample packs. That sounds fantastic. It's very generous of you.
Or anybody that hasn't sent in a question and that have any issue and they'd like to talk about it, like contact us anytime.
Fantastic.
And if they want to chat about a particular issue, we'll try and help them as best we can. Like there is no universal product that will treat all people for all conditions, because everybody is different, their environment is different, their immune systems are different. But we try and provide the best that we can and the safest natural product, gentlest product that's the most effective that we can.
Lovely.
So yeah, and it gets amazing results for some people and more people not so much for different reasons. But we do our best.
Fantastic. Okay. So safe, natural, gentle. Okay. Fantastic. Well, we'll end on that. Thank you so much.
No matter. Thanks very much for having us.